have to be collaborative. Tell me some more qualities you see in people that, say you're hiring for a position, doesn't matter the position, really general qualities, a good candidate comes in, what is it about that person that makes them shine? Or more specifically, when we talk about passion, like give me some really meaty stuff about what you mean when you say somebody has passion. What do they say? What do they do? How are they thinking? That lets you know they're a good fit and they're going to be a really successful person in this industry.
Well, one thing I think is just a broad appreciation for games of all types. We talk to a lot of people who, they just really want to make games. Mm-hmm. And when you talk to them, you end up finding out that they really just want to make the next GTA 5, or they want to make GTA 6, right. Or they want to make Call of Duty, or they want to make Halo. All of which are perfectly fine games, but they're just three examples out of the two, well actually now it's probably in the 10,000 range games that get brought to market every year, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we really look for is someone who, they can appreciate what's interesting about those games, and they can appreciate what's interesting about the little indie games that no one plays, and they can appreciate the games for girls. And I mean, I'm not talking about your games specifically, but
yes, you are.
I've made some of those.
You are talking about them, but you don't realize it wasn't intentional.
But I think that's really important to, and even from a professional perspective, even if it's not maybe the game that you as a player love to play, you should have a professional appreciation for it, right?
Almost every game developer I've ever met will talk to me about board games and card games, and they'll say,
absolutely,
that's where I found my first passion.
Sure.
And that's also often where designers start, is they'll develop a board game because you don't need those programming skills, and it still gets you kind of thinking on that level.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, when I interview people, especially people who don't have a lot of experience yet, I always look for a positive attitude. I think that we are in an industry, and you guys may disagree with me, where there tends to be a little bit of kind of, acerbic humor, sarcasm, that tends towards almost the negative. Yeah. And that's just something that I don't like to personally be around, and it's not the kind of culture of the company that I want to create, kind of I'm smarter than you, I'm more sarcastic than you. So I look for people who are incredibly smart and humble at the same time, people who have an insatiable desire to learn everything that they can. If they don't know mobile user acquisition, they want to learn it. If they've never heard this phrase before, they want to know about it. And then people who just really want to work hard. I think that's that maybe that's something that's taken for granted, but I think a lot of times people just expect that they will start and then they will become a superstar, as opposed to really understanding that you have to put in years of listening and diligence and hard work and failure and learning and picking yourself up and failure again and picking yourself up before those things generally happen.
And I think also, I agree with all of that, and that I look for an open and direct communicator. I think the communication skills are so critical because things go wrong and there are issues. And when I interview people, I always ask, what do you look like in stress? And a lot of times they don't know, which tells me that they're not that self-aware. But the people who do say what they look like, if they get introverted, then the next question is, how do I get you back? Because my job as a manager is to help you succeed. And those are the real critical things when things go wrong. You really know how your culture's working, and you know how you as a manager or other managers are helping people to come back together, because the time wasted and the damage it does to a product when we're not all gelling creatively is enormous. So I think that's, and sense of humor. Have to have a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is imperative.
So we're going to open it up to audience questions in a moment. If you could ask your question into the microphones that are going to be provided. I believe there's going to be one on either side. Please make sure you speak into the microphone. Try to keep your questions short. And while people are queuing up, I want to ask, each of you to give your one absolutely most important piece of takeaway advice, even if it's something you've already said.
If you go to interview at a game company, play the games that they make before you go to the interview.
Good one.
Seconded.
I would say take risks, and you will get in the gaming industry.
Make a game first. Make any game. Go to globalgamejam.org. Sign up for Global Game Jam. There's like 3 locations in New York, or there were last year. There's plenty of space, so please come. And then take an improv class.
I would say be aggressive in your job search. So,
But not creepy.
but not creepy. Yeah.
There's a fine line.
I must say that we get a lot of resumes that just get emailed, and then people, I think, have lost. They hide behind the send button. They have lost the appreciation for a follow-up phone call or trying to meet somebody at an event they're going to be at. Those are the things that make an impression on the people who are hiring. I had somebody wait outside my office today since 7:30 in the morning for 2 hours before we were essentially open to just be able to give us a portfolio and say, I'm willing to, I love this industry, I want a chance in this industry, what can I do? And that was really impressive because it stood out.
Yeah. I don't know why they thought a game company would be open at 7:30.
They've never obviously worked at one before. So, you know.
Because we didn't go home last night.